Not too long ago, I did a video covering phantom power between, let's say, a monitor console and maybe a front of house console. And one of the viewers posted a question about connecting a single microphone between two consoles. And does that actually work? Because apparently they had some issues with it working. So I thought I'd just do a real quick video covering how to set up sometimes they call it a poor man's splitter. Okay, in a setup like this, normally you'd have a snake running from front of house to the stage. But I'm not going to break out the snake to do this, so I'm just going to use just some regular XLR cables to simulate a snake running from front of house down to the stage where you'd have a monitor console. And actually something like this can work, because if you do have a front of house console that's a lot better, let's say, than the monitor console, you really don't need to have consoles to be the same to do this. Alright, so I said this is a rather rudimentary. Alright, so what we use is a 32 channel passive splitter. And it's basically a huge glorified Y connector box. Now for the shows that we do, we need to use something like this because we're going to have a lot more inputs that need to be routed to monitors. Alright, so what you're going to need is some kind of a splitter like this. These two ends here, these are going to go to XLR cables, which will feed into the consoles. This one single connector here is going to have a microphone attached to it. So let's say here's our microphone. Let's say we're at the stage. We connect our microphone into it, and then off stage we would connect our XLR cable into a Y connector. At the monitors, which would be near the stage, from this Y connector, we're going to connect one side of this, and that's going to go into one of our inputs at the monitor side. Alright, and then let's say we're running our snake all the way up the front of house. So on the other side of the Y connector, we'll connect into here like this, and then normally this cable here would plug into a snake and then up to front of house it goes. But our front of house is here, so we're just going to connect directly into it. And we're going to use input number 1. And then it's not going to matter what inputs you use here versus the ones that you use over here, just as long as you know what's being used. And it is very common that whatever inputs you're using in front of house will match with what's on the monitor console. But not every time. It's up to you how you want to have that set up. Alright, so basically that's all there is to it. We have one mic, and let's try out our monitor console. And the speaker that I'm using for monitors is actually sitting on the floor, so it may sound a little different or sound distant. Check, 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 1, 2. Make sure we have signal coming in. 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, that is the monitor output. And let's go over here and check out the... Let's take a look at our front of house. Check, 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 check. 1, 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. There we go. 2, 1, 2. Okay, that's the front of house level coming in. Alright, so we're now out of the monitors, but still talk the same microphone, so let's go to front of house. Alright, check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2. There we go. And that is the front of house. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Alright, that is the front of house sound coming out, and we can pen that down, and we're back on the monitor console. So basically, that's all there is to it. We can easily create a monitor feed using basically a poor man's splitter. That's all there is to it. And said this works with the phantom power, non-phantom power, but you can tell we're using a regular dynamic mic for this. So, all right, one of the problems or drawbacks of using a separate monitor console in front of house console is the potential for a ground loop to occur. And a ground loop occurs when the power from, let's say, a front of house location is different than the power from the monitor location. So this is on its own circuit, and then this would be on its own circuit. And what happens is that this loop starts occurring between the circuits, and I hope you can hear that. This is what we get. This is a 60 cycle hum, and this is typical for a ground loop. Now, there's a couple of ways to fix this. You can use a ground lift cable between front of house and the stage box. And a lot of times there's a ground lift available, like on the DBX rack units, drive rack units. That's what that ground lift switch is in the back of the unit. Now, if this doesn't work, really the best way to do it is to have the power for front of house come from the same circuit that the monitor is connected to. And anytime that we do a show where we have had a separate monitor console, we ensure that front of house and monitor consoles are on exactly the same circuit. All right, hope this helps.